Hi there. You probably recognize this guy. I'm Ned Rust. I'm his publisher, the James Patterson here, the #1 best-selling author in the world. And
Did you just make that up?
I did some research before I got here today.
Where are we anyway?
400. Oh, we are in the library of Little Brown and Company in New York City. I've been your publisher since 1976, I believe.
What the heck?
I don't know if you strayed at any point, but you're with us now. We are here because you have 2 books on sale today.
When do I start signing?
Criss Cross, immediately.
I can start signing already?
People are asking
I'm
right
signing.
now.
Okay.
And if you want one of these signed books, the place to go is premiercollectibles.com/Criss Cross.
That's right. premiercollectibles.com/Criss Cross. Cool.
Where you can also get Alley Cross.
Yes. I'm signing
no
Alley
judgment
Cross
about
now.
which one you pick.
Well, because we have we have Criss Cross, which is the new Alex Cross. And Alex, I guess, is the best-selling detective series
of the modern era.
I just saw that in the New York Times.
Yes.
And then his son, or one of his sons, Ali, and this is a book about him. So we have things for the parents and the kids, and you can really compare notes. And in Criss Cross, well, in Ali Cross, Ali, the young kid, he's looking for a friend of his, and he uses Alex's detective skills as an 11 or 12-year-old would, looking for his friend. So, and there's no murders in there, so don't be afraid. And then with Criss Cross, Alex winds up looking for Ali.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. I'm going to sign a Criss Cross now.
Go ahead and sign.
And this is for you. This one. This one has my name on it. James Patterson, okay.
And Ali is also gets a little direct parental advice from Alex in the book. So Alex Cross fans may be keen to jump into those pages and see him live and in the flesh there.
I'm keen. These things are going like
They're
hot
going
books.
fast. Now, a couple questions. We have Helene from Dorchester, Dorset, asking what you do to relax besides signings.
Signings, basically, when I go home, I like to sign before bed in the evening. I like to sign in bed, which says some things about my life. No, just kidding. To relax, I read a lot. I'm a movieaholic. I just saw Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was a lot of fun. What was the Parasite is interesting.
Horror film, right?
I walk on a golf course occasionally with my wife. So that's not really relaxing though, right? The signing though, there's something.
That's where you go.
Yeah.
What else we got here? We have.
Do you want me to ask you some questions?
You may. Debbie in Bettendorf, Iowa asks.
Okay.
We
have some scholarships at the University of Iowa.
That's right.
For teachers at the writer school there. So that's nice. So we're doing our bit. And also, I'd like to announce right now that I'm running for president. So if you're out in Iowa, you can feed that to the newspapers.
On the pro reading
Please
ticket.
don't do that. Yeah. Not doing it.
And she asks, which character in your books would you like to be in real life?
Well, I think the biggest bond I have is with Alex, because Alex and I have been together for a long time. Yes, Criss Cross, etc. Probably Alex. Michael Bennett, I enjoy a lot. Except I don't think I'd like to have 10 kids.
Yeah, well, he does.
Which Mike has. I have 1 kid, and that's plenty. Jack is 21 now. He's graduating from college this year, and that's been an adventure.
Is he looking to be a writer himself?
He's a good writer. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Time will tell.
We were just talking on the way up.
These signatures are so. I've signed a lot of books, but I think these signatures are among my best.
They're well crafted, yes.
Huh?
And you can see these signatures yourself at premiercollectibles.com/Criss Cross.
For real. And some people don't actually sign their own books. And that's, but here we are.
You can see proof
signing.
on the feed.
Right on television, or this, whatever this is. You got another question?
I see the writer's block question, but we were talking on the way over about questions that are.
Writer's block is not. Can you push those over?
Yes, I certainly
so you can be both the moderator
and the
facilitator of the signing. This is so cool. This is so good. Yeah. And they just go over here, and I don't know what happens to them once they go to the right.
They get put in an envelope and sent right to your doorstep.
Right.
Writer's block, though.
Writer's block. I don't know from writer's
This is
block.
from Ashley E.
I've heard of it. Where's Ashley?
Arlington, Texas.
Okay. I was just in Texas, in Dallas. Did a mystery writers thing there, which was really a lot of fun.
The voucher.
Like Texas very much. I don't have writer's block because I do a lot of books, and if something isn't working in a particular book, for one thing, I do several drafts, and I'll just go on to the next chapter, and I'll just go TBD. I'll get to it next time around. And if I'm really getting blocked on a book, I'll go to another book. So I write the children's books, like Allie Cross, which is for all of your kids and your grandkids, and if they're like, I'd say maybe 8 to 13 or so. Actually, Allie can go even a little older than 13.
I know some people in their 50s who enjoyed it. So.
Yeah. Well, if you like, no, I mean, because Allie Cross, that character has shown up in several of the adult
Previous books, sure.
And Allie is in Criss Cross, one of the.
And Alex is an Allie.
This is shameless, isn't it?
It's
shameless selling.
At premiercollectibles.com.
But it has a good unlike a lot of things somebody might be trying to get you to buy books.
Yep.
If you're going to buy, and if shameless selling is going to get you to buy anything, I think a book is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Writer's block. I know you I'm sure there's going to be a question in here somewhere about the writing process, and you mentioned outlining as an important.
Yeah, for me, outlining is everything. I'll do an outline for every book that I do that's 60 to 80 pages. Even if I'm with a co-writer on a book, I will still do that 70 or 80 page outline. Then, if it is a co-written book, I ask them to contribute to the outline for two reasons. One, I want the contributions, I want their thinking, and secondly, I want them emotionally involved. And that happens. Sometimes they'll have one thought and they'll go, "Oh, now it works." I go, "Okay, now it works." Excellent.
How about co-authors? How do you find them usually?
Well, anywhere. I mean, you want to write a book?
Not a creator.
No, not a creator. Okay. It's a lot of people who I've known for a number of years. A couple of people. I was in advertising for a while, but I've been clean for over 20 years. So a couple of people from the advertising days, writers who I had thought were really good writers. When I started doing the novellas, the shorter books for bookshots, I needed a lot of co-writers, and what I did was I would there's a series of great American mystery stories, and it comes out every year, and I got about 10 of them, and I just went through and I would start reading, and I'd go, this person I'm interested in, and I'd just call them up. So you want to do something? So Brendan Dubois, for example, was one of the people that I called. And I thought he was a very good writer, and he'd written some novels, and we've written a few since then.
Yeah.
We did Cornwalls Are Gone, and which I thought was one of the best books that I did this year.
We've gotten a lot of good mail about that.
Yeah.
Here's a good one from Amber in Winter Garden, Florida. Would you ever consider an Alex Cross TV series on Netflix or Amazon?
Would I consider? Actually, we're developing one now. We haven't announced it yet, but we are developing one for actually one of those two that you mentioned as a possible place where it will be. But that's going on. The President is Missing. We're going to be shooting the pilot for Showtime in, I think, February. And then...
Does that mean it could be on TV next summer? Next fall?
I think next fall, probably. That would be where I think it would be. And I know they've already written a bunch of scripts, so they're very high on a very good writer who actually wrote Invictus, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
On Netflix, we might have a documentary on Jeffrey Epstein coming. So that's we're considering that one. But the Cross thing's pretty alive right now, so we'll see what happens with that. Alex is, as I said earlier, the most popular detective series in the last 25 years. So if you haven't caught up with Alex, this is a good... One of the things about my books, and I hear this over and over again, sometimes people get afraid to get into a series late. All of these books, you can read it and having never read anything before, and you'll be able to, to read it and have no problem following it. And then if you decide, well, I'd like to read a bunch more, the same thing will happen.
Yep.
You could read 3 or 4 of them, and they would all work on their own. And then with Allie, for the kids and the grandkids and the nieces and nephews and whatever, this is the first one. So this is the first of the Allie Crosses.
And there may be another one, huh?
That's what I hear. Yeah. Actually, I am writing another one now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That makes a publisher happy. At premiercollectibles.com /
I live to make you happy, Ned.
I know it. And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
How did Alex Cross arrive in your head way back in the day, 25 years ago?
Well, one of the interesting things about Alex Cross, and if you're not that familiar with Alex, you might be familiar with the movies Kiss the Girls, Along Came a Spider with Morgan Freeman, and then we did Alex Cross, what was it called? Cross or Alex Cross? I forget.
The movie.
With, help me out. Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Who was great. He was a real gentleman. It was a nice experience to meet up with him. So the movies have been going for a while, and I don't remember the question, but I'm sure it was wonderful. What was the question, Ned?
It's from Carolyn in Charleston, West Virginia. How did you come up with...
Where?
Where did you come up with the...
Where's she from in West Virginia?
Charleston.
I was just there.
I know.
Good God almighty. Did we meet?
Where
did I come up with Alex? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, a piece of it was... I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. My grandparents had a restaurant. It was a bar restaurant, and the cook was an African-American woman. And when I was little, she was having problems with her husband. And the way my family was, will move in with us. So she lived with my family for about 3 or 4 years. And during that period, I spent a lot of time with her family. And I enjoyed the banter and the music and the cooking and the whole ball of wax even more than I enjoyed my own family. And so that's, I think, where the notion of the Cross family came from.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started the first, Along Came a Spider was the first of the Cross books. For the first 50 or so pages, I was writing Alex as a woman. And for some reason, after about 50 pages, I want to write, it was Alexis, or Alexa, I don't remember. And that's where they stole that name for which one has Alexa or whatever?
Yeah,
they stole
the
it
Amazon device.
And I just decided, no, I want to write this particular one as a man. And then, later on with Women's Murder Club, obviously we have 4 women starring in that series, so I got comfortable writing. And my house was full of women: mother, grandmother, 3 sisters, 2 female cats, and the buzz and purr is still in my head. So,
You remember either of the cats' names?
No.
Wonder
Go on and here's my life and death thing, a T-shirt. You're here, ... and then you're. And then you're nowhere.
Cuts off. Yeah.
You're here, and then you're nowhere. No, I don't know. Yeah. Interesting, right?
I wonder if you asked.
Think about it.
I wonder if you ask an Alexa device what its last name was, if it would ever come up with Cross.
Yeah, who knows?
To be able to do
I
that.
haven't had any long talks with. I'm really buzzing through these damn
You're
autographs.
doing well.
I've
We
gotta
need
slow
to
down.
print more books.
Whoa, slow down, man.
We got
Oof.
a reprint.
Huh?
We got a reprint.
Don't you slow down though,
Yeah,
because
it's okay. We'll
Premier Collectibles, they're a really good group, and they'll only survive if you guys buy some books.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's not true. They're doing great.
PremierCollectibles.com/Criss Cross. You can get your signed copy. Is Kyle
That's about the only place you get signed copies, right?
at the moment? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's the only place in the world, in the universe, actually, I could
Yes.
say. Yeah.
Go wide. Annis from New York City, right here, is asking: is Kyle still alive? I think she probably means Kyle Craig.
Good question.
Yeah.
The little line at the top here, you messed up big time, Dr. Cross, M. It's possible that Kyle is M. You must read this to find out for sure. So Kyle might still be alive. You let me know.
This is sort of the same theme. Do you ever have scary dreams from your characters? This is from
I don't
Megan.
remember my dreams, so possibly.
It is possible.
Possibly, yeah. I had a weird one the other day. I did remember one the other day. I can't remember what the heck it was now, but it was just odd.
Involve an Alexa,
we don't want to get into
an
dreams.
Alexa device or anything.
I never write about dreams in books. I don't like flashbacks too much either.
Well,
I just feel it kind of sends the story sideways for me, unless you build the whole book around going
that.
Back and forth. Yeah.
It can be sort of an escape hatch for an author. Like,
It
oh,
can
I'll
work.
do a dream.
Yeah, dream. No dreams. Yeah.
And that was from Megan in Yellow Springs, Ohio.
Okay, Yellow Springs. I wonder where Yellow Springs is. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Yeah.
Someone else asking a good villain character. Are you going to write about the wolf again? This is from Samuel in Thermal, California.
You know, the wolf was quite a while ago. I hope that you've moved past, in the Alex Cross books, past the wolf, because the Big Bad Wolf was, I was still a young man when I did that one. And look what happened.
I think that's the first book. I think that was the
I
first,
don't know.
That
I
was
don't
the
know
first
if
one
the
I
wolf.
worked on.
Yeah, I can't even remember what happened to the wolf. Is the wolf still? I don't remember what happened. Let me know. Send me a note. But you need to read the more recent.
Back in London Bridges, I seem to recall. Anyway.
No. Yeah, no. Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right around that time. London Bridges, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you had a good FBI detective in London Bridges. I remember. A guy named Ned.
Yeah.
He was terrific.
I think we got rid of him too.
He's coming back. Do you ever run out of ideas as to what to write next? This from Norway. Sorry.
From Norway.
Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Bente.
Okay, that's so cool. Well, just a little side on Norway. My wife was just there for 9 days. She was in Oslo and Bergen, and then she went up and watched the Northern Lights or whatever. Northern Lights?
What, did you get to see him?
She did.
That's
she did.
cool.
She came back a frozen person from watching the Northern Lights. But she loved it. And what she really was impressed by, and it's interesting given the way we're going in this country now, she just said people are so civil there. Which I think it would be nice if we could all be a little more civil in this country right now. We don't seem to, civil doesn't seem to be an adjective that describes many of our days here. What was the question, though, about Norway? From Norway.
It wasn't about Norway. It was about, I seem to have hit the wrong button on it. Do you have a record of it?
Oh, no, we lost
We
Norway.
lost you. Anyway, we talked about Norway, though, so
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
If you send that question again,
We'll
we
try to
might
find
be
it.
able to
I have it.
deal with it.
What?
Yeah.
You've probably heard this one before, but what got you into writing? This is from Christine.
What got me into writing? Paying the electric bill,
That'll do.
paying the light bill, paying the food bill. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. I mean, I always considered it presumptuous to think that I could make a living writing fiction. So I wrote advertising for a while. But as I've said many times, I've been clean for quite a long time. So I wrote ads for Ford Motor Company and Toys R Us and Kodak and IBM, et cetera, et cetera. And then I would write books on the side. First one was published when I was 26, the Thomas Berriman number, manuscript was turned down by 31 publishers. It then won an Edgar as the best first mystery, which is kind of interesting for a book that was turned down by all those publishers. Yeah.
Good. We are signing books here at premiercollectibles.com/Criss Cross. We have Criss Cross.
We want to sign a book for
brand
you.
Brand new Alex Cross.
Criss Cross, yes.
And Allie Cross, his son, who is also
Allie
a detective.
Cross. So
Both
we have
available
for
today.
the adults, Criss Cross, and actually adults and kids will enjoy Allie, I think. But you can have your 8, 9, 10s, 11, 12. And the other thing about the holidays, and this I think for anybody watching now, please, whether it's my books or somebody else's, well, probably prefer, no, I don't really care. Give books for the holidays. That's a piece of the puzzle, I think, and it's a good thing. It's a really good present to give. And try to give people books that they actually will read, which I think is another thing. The thing of you get this book and you go, oh, how nice. And it sits on a coffee table, or it sits under the coffee table, or it sits in a bookshelf, and that doesn't really, nothing good happens.
You have a saying that there no such thing as a kid who doesn't read. There's just kids who haven't found the right book yet. That's
That's a big piece of it. I mean, I have an imprint, Jimmy Books, which is Allie Cross is in that imprint. And our mission is when a kid finishes a Jimmy book, the kid will say, please give me another book. That seems very simple, but it's so important in terms of kids and reading, because millions of kids in this country have never read a book that they love, which is a disaster. So if that's a problem in your household or in your grandkids' households, I believe Allie Cross is a book that kids will read and go like, that's cool, give me another book.
Right.
Yeah.
Because for people to get good at reading, as you also, I know, we're known to point out, you need to do it and to get better at it. And it becomes a virtuous
it's like
cycle.
anything else, right? I'll go into schools and classes, and I'll go, who likes soccer? Yeah, the whole class, And are you better now than 3 years ago? Are we better now? Why? Because we play a lot. Yeah. Same thing with reading. You read more, you get better at it. At a certain point, it becomes very natural, and everything gets easier. If the kids can't read well, it really puts an awful burden on them. So, in the same way that it's really useful, you teach your kid how to ride a bike, or you teach him how to throw a ball, and that's all fine. But you got to get them reading and make sure they're reading, and it's your job. You're the ones that screw the pooch, as we say. So one of the most important things is make sure your kids are readers.
Yeah.
And it's not to sell books; it's to save them.
Yeah. And a piece of that though is getting them books and getting in the habit.
It's very hard for kids to compete out in the world.
Yeah.
It's doable, but it's a lot harder to compete if you're not at least a competent reader.
Yep, for sure. I know you've been working on a program down with the state of Florida. Any news on that? This is about getting kids reading, right?
Yeah. What we're the percentage of kids reading at grade level in Florida is 43%. Now, before you start feeling good about your state, the best in the country is Massachusetts at 62%. The whole country, on average, is below 50%. So, for an average for this country, under 50% of the kids are reading at grade level, which is a tragedy. And one of the weird things is we'll watch all these presidential debates, and education never comes up, which is insane. How can that not? Don't we care about our kids? Don't we care? If you really care about the future, obviously, global warming is a big issue for the future, and education is a big issue for the future. And global warming becomes less of an issue if the kids can read and can think and whatever. If they're not reading, they're probably not thinking the way they ought to. And somebody, talk about education, say the most important thing about education, the most important thing about grade school and even high school is that the kids learn to think. And politics, same thing. I mean, as we go through this whole thing of, am I Republican, am I a Democrat, whatever the heck it is, you all figure that out for yourself. But if you don't think well, you're not gonna be able to think through the issues as well as you, and that's not a political thing.
And how to solve problems.
Right.
Okay, Darlene from Fort Pierce, Florida is asking, did you write or tell stories even as a child? You have fantastic imagination. Every book you wrote.
Yeah, actually, I grew up in out in the sticks, and I used to wander around in the woods all the time, and I would tell myself stories. I would just make up stories all the time. And then, interestingly, I was a good student, but I didn't read that much as a little kid. My mother was the teacher, and maybe that's why I didn't read that much. But they gave us an awful lot of books that most of us just didn't respond to.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't find them relevant or interesting, and so I didn't read as much as I could have. Right after high school, I started reading like a crazy person. I used to work in a mental hospital. I worked a lot of night shifts, and it was all pretty serious stuff. But that's where I really became a big reader, and it served me reasonably well.
Looks like the habit stuck. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a massive reader now. That makes any sense.
Let's see. I just saw a good
Criss Cross, just for you.
I saw a good question from somebody.
Watch this Ali Cross signature, just for you.
Somebody from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm scrolling back to find the question.
Love Pittsburgh.
Said that it was a bucket list moment for them when you signed the guy we were just talking about, the big bad wolf.
Really?
And then asks if you had any bucket list moments that you've attained.
Have I had any bucket list moments? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I was just at the White House. That was cool. It's kind of an interesting thing in that I was just at the White House and I got the Humanitarian Award from President Trump. I wrote a book with President Clinton, and I've been to Barbara Bush's literacy
in Texas,
thing in Texas twice. So, I want to move the ball forward, and everything in life isn't political, hopefully, and I really don't think it is. Let's just, I just wish we could get there and stop fighting and just keep moving the ball forward. And education is one of the areas where, we're just not talking about and thinking about it, and getting kids reading.
Yep.
Getting kids reading.
And you can get that book and adults reading too with Criss Cross at premiercollectibles.com/Criss Cross.
Where they are signed.
And the only place to get them signed.
Yeah, it is the only place.
Actually, you'd mentioned
it's bigger than the universe, isn't it?
Yeah.
How big is
anywhere?
What's out there? I mean,
Beyond
you're the scientist.
I did.
You forget
chemistry, not physics. But
okay.
Yeah. If just talking about like the importance of reading in the country, if you were president, would you consider making reading a national priority?
I would make a law.
Nice.
You have to read. Yeah, absolutely, and I think all the candidates should. Part of the problem is it just hasn't become a habit.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not. Once you bring children into it and wake people up and they go, yes, of course we have to make reading a national priority. Just nobody's doing it. So whoever your candidate is, President Trump, Buttigieg. It's an interesting thing. I was just reading about, the proper way is Buttigieg, but they've accepted, and it goes on his website, if you want to go Buttigieg, that's fine by them. Kind of interesting thing, though, that he basically, he bit the bullet and says, okay, fine, here's a couple of ways that we find acceptable in terms of saying his name. But whoever it is, I wish, Elizabeth Warren, whatever, talk more about education.
Yep.
It's not just, let's figure out ways that people think they can get stuff for free. Yep. Nothing's free.
You have a show called Kids Stew where you're drawing attention to books and reading.
Yeah, we have a show on a lot of PBS stations, I think 60% of the country, called Kids Stew. And it's kind of a combination, each episode, of like kind of the Discovery Channel and Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. And kids love it because it's humorous, but they learn a lot. So that's Kids Stew. Last year we won 4 Emmys, and we're up 4 or 5. 5. And we're up for 7 this year.
Nice.
So it really turned out well. You never know. You go and film something. You hope it's going to be good. But Kids Stew turned out great. But that's another example of, in that medium, doing stuff that's get kids thinking, which is what we're always trying to do.
That's going to be a pretty different process.
I mean, one of the cool things about Ali Cross is this is a kid learning to think, learning to solve problems, following his dream. His dream at this stage, he's a little kid, but his dream is to be like his dad, to be a detective. Yep. And he puts it into practice in terms of finding a friend of his who's been missing for a couple of days. And he investigates, and in his room he puts up the different possibilities, as a detective would. But he's been watching his father do it for a long time, and that's kind of cool. And his mother, well, his stepmother actually. Yeah.
Well, we've covered some of it, but the signing to relax, and then the figuring out ways to get kids reading. But what's a typical day like in the life of James
A typical
Patterson?
day in the world? Typical day in my life. I get up early, 5:30 to 6. I'll call Little Brown and leave a lot of messages for them early. No. And I will, make some notes for what I want to do, what book or books do I want to mess around with that day. I'll usually go through a couple of newspapers. I still actually read
physical
newspapers, yeah. Dinosaur that I am. I then will either go for a walk or occasionally go out and golf, frequently with my wife, Sue. Interesting notion about Sue and who we all are, who I am anyway. I was talking recently to her about our relationship, and it sounds like a Nicholas Sparks thing, but it's, and I told her, I said, there are hours when I don't like you, but there's never a day that goes by that I don't love you. And that would be a cornball thing, except it's true. I think that's, we're lucky.
Absolutely.
We're lucky. And that's the kind of writing you're going to find in these.
Is there a Patterson Family Foundation? I have a question here about that. Is this?
I called. I wouldn't. I don't know what it's called. There is a foundation. Everything we do deals with education and getting kids reading. We have, around 400 scholarships in around 30 colleges and universities for teachers. Yeah. We connect with Scholastic to provide classroom libraries for teachers. A lot of teachers go out and spend their own money for classroom libraries. This year we had, I think, 120,000 pleas for help. I believe we're doing 4,000 plus. Where we're funding the classroom libraries in that many schools for that many teachers. We do a thing around the holidays for booksellers where people send in, or it can be people who work in the store or people who go in the store, say, you got to help this bookseller out. And one of the great things about that is there's nothing that I do where I get as high a percentage of thank yous as I do is this bookseller thing. Yeah. And they will write in and say things like, thank you so much, I got to go to the dentist this year. Yeah. Because a lot of booksellers, the money is not in bookselling in a lot of places. Yeah. So that's a really useful. We give away a lot of books. I think we've given away a couple million books, both to schools and then military.
Military, that's right.
And other stuff. So that that's the kind of things we do.
That's great. I've seen a lot of those responses, of course, and it's really amazing the number of lives and how deeply it touches them.
Well, the weird thing is, one of the people mentioned Amazon, Netflix, or whatever. One of those companies just did full-page ads that they're doing 100 scholarships for teachers, and I'm like, okay, we do 400 and some, and I'm not like whatever company it was.
Mega corporation.
The size,
scale. Speaking of booksellers, premiercollectibles.com /Criss Cross is where you can get either of these books signed. I don't know if they've won any bookseller grants, but we'll think about you next year.
All right, okay. All right.
What else can I ask you?
I'm signing here. This is like one of those, what are those things, Home Network or all those? Yeah, where you can, and there's the person and they'll say, And these little earrings here, they're so cute. These are my pen earrings.
Let me try one on.
And you know, you can get these. These look so cool, and people are gonna think you're really smart because you have like pens hanging from your ears. You know. So anyway, we don't have any earrings, and the earrings are great, but we do have books.
No earrings at premiercollectibles.com.
We'll do pencil earrings. Maybe that'll be our next.
Could be a thing. We've talked about that, putting up some of your pencils for auction or something.
Yeah, we might do that. Yeah. Or earrings.
If you were to cast an Alex Cross movie, who would you choose to play Alex, John, Bree, and Nana Mama? This is from
Wow, that's
Andrea.
Complicated.
That's a multi-parter.
Well, look, I mean, obviously Morgan Freeman, you know, and Morgan's, I think, getting a little too. Here's the trick with Alex Cross, though, and I remember talking to Michael Connolly, another really a wonderful mystery writer,
also published here at
and
Little Brown.
also published here at Little Brown. But he let his character age. He would write a book a year, and he would let his character age a year. Mm-hmm. So now his character is like 107 years old. But with Alex, you don't have to do that just because a year that it took you to write the book. So with Alex, it'll be like 2 weeks later in his life. So Alex is still a young man, but so Morgan now is too old to play Alex. So Denzel would be great. Denzel considered it at one point, right in the beginning, but he said he didn't want to get involved in any franchises. And he pretty held true to that, although I think with not the Terminator, but what did he do? Exterminator or something, I don't know. He finally did a series, did a couple of them. Not back to back, but he did. Equalizer. Yeah, right. Yeah, and then, he'd be great. And the guy who did Creed, a younger Alex, I think he's great, really very talented. So if you're watching, Alex Cross, Criss Cross, whatever, Probably not watching. But hey, you never know.
Yeah. If not watching, you can at least be ordering at premiercollectibles.com /Criss Cross. Just on sale today.
You can tell your friends, by the way. We're on here for another 3 or 4 hours. No, 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
So if you have a friend who, for whatever reason, wants to watch somebody signing books, if that's the kind of life no, I'm kidding. You might give them a ring or give them a little, email or whatever the heck you do, however you communicate, bang on the neighbor's door, etc.
We have more earrings coming up soon, too, so we can...
Yeah. We get the earrings, yeah. The earrings are going to sell out. That'll be our biggest thing.
Back to kids.
We're kidding about the earrings, by the way.
When getting back to kids and reading books, there's a question here. What kinds of things should parents consider when selecting books for their kids? Finding out what they're interested in,
chill.
I imagine.
Yeah, chill, basically. People get so, they'll send kids out to watch some, superhero thing where 80 million people get killed. And then they worry too much about most kids' books. I mean, publishers are pretty good about not putting stuff out there. So most of the stuff is, So obviously, Alex Cross and my stuff, I think one of the better books for boys ever is Potty Mouth and Stupid, which I did. And that's about word bullying. And some gatekeepers, it's got stupid in the title. Yeah, because it's about word bullying, but it's really, really powerful thing. Maximum Ride for in terms of YA, but there are a lot of books out there. Actually, we have a site, Read Kiddo Read, where you can go to in terms of looking at books, quick write-ups, and you can get an idea for some books that maybe your kids would turn your kids on.
These are books
your grandkids.
Books with a proven track of a lot of kids finding them the book for them. Yeah. You've appeared on TV shows like The Simpsons and Castle as yourself. Do you enjoy these cameos?
Yeah, I'll tell you a Castle story. This is a cute one. So I was on the TV show Castle a few times, and I appeared as myself because the hero of the thing, he was a writer in the story, and he would have these poker games. So I'm on a plane a while back, and I'm walking down an aisle, and this woman said, I know you. So I sort of stopped. Hi, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. And she said, you played Patterson on Castle. And I said, yeah, and I'm going to play Patterson on this plane ride. And I'm playing Patterson right here, signing these books, just like on Castle.
You could probably use that in a situation where you're getting over recognized somewhere. You could be like, no, I'm just the actor.
I'm just the actor who
played
played Patterson
Jim
on
it.
Castle, right? Yeah.
It's amazing casting.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Tim of Mount Hope, West Virginia.
Okay.
What is your favorite quality in Alex Cross? One of his character traits.
My favorite, compassion would be huge. One of the things, I don't know if it's that I love about Alex, and that I think a lot of people can relate to, is all of us, a lot of us, have this issue of balancing work and family, and it's very difficult for a lot of reasons. Alex has that difficulty in spades because he is a homicide detective. He deals with very serious cases, and yet he has his family who are occasionally threatened. Like, so in Criss Cross, this being Criss Cross, his family is on some level threatened. And once again, symbolically, in terms of the way most of us live, our families don't get threatened for the most part, but we do have that thing of, oh my God, how do I, have this work life and also maintain be there for my family. And then Allie, obviously, on the kid's side, he has had to deal with the father who, one, is in life and death situations, which is very harrowing for a kid. Secondly, is a police person, which in this day and age is tricky for kids. And Alex has been criticized a couple of times. And that's also very difficult. And Allie sometimes has to deal with that in school. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, your dad's a cop. And I think that ought to be, for the most part, a good thing, for the most part, not always. But it isn't always, and sometimes it's hard for the kids. So, but it's something that Allie has to deal with.
Yeah. You said you got another Ally Cross book coming up. Can you tell us about any other exciting projects in the near-term or far-term future?
Yeah, well, there's a lot. I'm doing a book with Kwame Alexander now on Cassius Clay, meaning when he was a kid in Louisville, which I think is going to be wonderful.
I've read a few of those pages, and I can.
Yeah, it goes back and forth between prose and very accessible poetry.
Yep.
A lot of nonfiction. Have a really extremely readable book about the Kennedys. It reads like a novel that's coming early next year. That's very exciting. Another Woman's Murder Club, but yeah.
Got a
the usual
nonfiction project with the military coming up?
That'll be probably the year after, probably.
Yeah.
A nonfiction about John Lennon.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also, I'm very excited about that. So,
all right.
And another Alley and, whatever. Oh, Hawk.
Hawk, yes.
Maximum Ride. Yeah. If you love Maximum Ride is kind of coming back. Hawk is really a fun. That's in the summer, I think.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And if you.
But for the moment, Alley.
Yes.
And Criss Cross.
Yes, we'll do another Premier Collectibles for the 30 million Maximum Ride fans when we.
That'd be a cool one to do. Yeah, that would be a good one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Put
that on your list.
There's a little speed round here called 22 questions in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So do you have we have a clock or anything?
Yeah, I'm going to do some passes too, but yeah, go ahead.
All right. Number one, where were you born?
Newburgh, New York.
Who would you want to play you in a movie?
Morgan Freeman.
What was your first job?
First job, furniture company, moving man in a furniture company.
I didn't know that.
At 16, yeah. Bad job.
What is your biggest fear?
I don't know. Not doing a good job with our son, I guess.
Who makes you laugh the most?
I make myself laugh. I don't take myself too seriously, which I think is useful.
What is the one thing you need to have in your fridge at all times?
Well, the thing I don't have in my fridge, which I would love to have in my fridge at all times, is ice cream. I love ice cream, but I can't have ice cream in the house.
There's a company in Ohio. That
I don't even want to get into it. Graders, yeah, because they'll send ice cream. Don't send me ice cream. Don't. I love ice cream.
What is your greatest accomplishment?
Don't send me any. Oh, shoot, I don't know. I mean, I think raising a family that works is huge. You know, on the book side, I'm happy to have created a lot of characters. I mean, there aren't many authors. You got Alice Cross, Women's Murder Club, Michael Bennett, Maximum Ride. There's just a lot of iconic characters, which it's hard to. I don't know if anybody else has done that kind of thing.
It's cool. Who is the most interesting person you met recently?
You, Ned.
Excellent. Anybody down in Washington?
Yeah, no.
No. All right. What is your middle name?
Brendan.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
I think that that people think that compromise is a bad word. You know, we compromise with our spouses, with our kids, with all through our life, and it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Meaning, you think this, I think this, and let's just get closer. In the government, we just need to compromise. We need to get along and compromise and go. Okay, let's move education. Let's deal with the immigration problem. Let's deal with these problems. We just can't stay like this. It's no good.
Yeah, that's like you were saying about Norway before.
Yeah, civil.
Yeah. What is the last book you read that you didn't write?
I'm reading the latest Michael Connelly. I always forget this. I can't remember what the hell I read. I'm reading a bunch of things right now, but I don't remember.
Liking the Connelly?
Like the Michael Connelly,
good.
Yeah.
What is your...
Night Fires, or what is it?
Night Fire, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
What is your...
Why do I keep plugging this guy? Yeah.
What is your... He's probably a Premier Collectibles guy, too, but I don't know what his backslash is. What is your favorite hobby?
Writing. And that's the thing. I mean, somebody said, you know, if you do something for a living that you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. What is your guilty pleasure? I think we covered ice cream.
Frickin' ice cream.
Do you have any...
It's not a guilty pleasure. I don't do it. It's like I'd like it to be a guilty pleasure. Yeah.
Do you have any hidden talents?
I don't even have any visible talents.
What color is your toothbrush?
Blue.
What is your secret snack?
My secret not snack is ice cream.
Yep. How do you take your coffee?
Half and half and Splenda.
Nice. What is the last movie you saw?
Not eating red meat for lately. That's a big shift.
Yeah.
Haven't done that for a couple of months. And weirdly, I feel better. I feel like I have more energy. Blah blah blah. I'm not suggesting anybody should do anything, but I find it useful.
What is the last movie you saw in theaters?
I just saw that Ford versus Ferrari, which I loved. I thought it was really, really, really cool movie. I saw the Charlie's Angels, which I did not think was that cool a movie.
You review these at your website, right? So
I
we
do.
can go check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of websites,
yes,
PremierCollectibles.com. Criss Cross. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What is the last gift you gave?
I give books all the time. It probably was, and I don't know, maybe Educated. I give a bunch of books. The Body, the Bryson book, probably books.
Good gifts.
Occasionally give people a golf club.
Don't give me one. I would.
Don't worry.
Yeah. What cause is dear to your heart?
Anything involving reading and education.
What is number one on your bucket list? Another bucket list.
I don't know this bucket list stuff. I don't. You just keep moving through stuff. I don't know. There's a couple places I'd like to visit still. I'd like to go to South Africa.
Where do you want to go that you've never been? You just answered that one.
South Africa.
We're good.
Heaven.
Do we make it in 2 minutes? No, that's all right. All right. Is that it for us? Should we do all right. PremierCollectibles.com/Criss Cross is where you can get both the brand new Alex Cross novel, and his son's first, Alley Cross, signed. We believe it is the only place in the universe where you can get the signed books.
Right, and they still have some, but you better
hurry.
go quickly because they'll be gone quickly.
Good Christmas gifts, good holiday gifts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, whatever. And they have other books too, but don't, buy these first. And no, it's a great place. It's a good place. Yeah, and signed books are really a cool holiday gift. Books are a good holiday gift, and signed books are the best holiday gift.
Does show a little thinking. Yeah.
How's that?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.